This is a TPPN production brought to you by Tim Chatton. Welcome to the Xenomorphic Possibilities Podcast, episode number 3, Alternative Alien 3s. Welcome to today's episode of the Xenomorphic Possibilities Podcast. This is Tim here, and we are back for another episode of the podcast. For today's show, as the title suggests, I'm going to dive into alternative Alien 3s. So what do I mean by this? So a couple different things. Basically, there's two versions that you can now watch on DVD or Blu-ray. For Alien 3, you can watch the director's cut, which isn't actually the director's cut. It's a cut that was put together from material that was filmed, but the director had no involvement in putting it together because he got so angry at Fox during the creation of that film. Another story. But there is that cut. And there is also the theatrical cut. And beyond that, we also have a lot of information about other envisionments of the film. We have at least two that I know of. So we have one of the wooden planet scenario, and we have one of the very first, I actually got a chance to read this, the very first draft of Alien 3, which is quite different from the final product, needless to say. So since I live out in Hollywood, in Los Angeles, I have access to a script library, and I've actually read through the first draft of Alien 3, and it's remarkably different from what we got as a final product. And reading the script, it was a pretty terrible idea of a film. So I'm going to walk you through that as well. So that's today's topic. Alien 3, alternative versions in what could have been, what was, and all that kind of stuff. So let's just jump into it. So first off, I thought it might be fun to address the whole Alien 3 director's cut versus theatrical cut. What has changed, what's in there, all that kind of stuff. So let me dive into that as our first part of this show. So I'm first going to take you through the differences here. This is compiled from just the Wikipedia entry. I know some of these off the top of my head, but just making sure everything's in here, I thought I'd just read this through to you guys. So instead, they're not. It's basically the special edition, which is known as the assembly cut. So some differences here. So first off, the alien gestates inside of an ox rather than a dog. So that's the first main difference between the two cuts. And it's a big difference because basically an alien takes a form or imitates whatever comes out of. So we had aliens come out of humans, and they looked remotely like humans. They stood more on two legs. They walked around on two legs, that kind of thing. And you clearly saw that in the very first Alien film. And that was just, as it was. This third film, this creature scurrying about a lot. On four legs, looks kind of dog-like. And the special edition coming out of an ox doesn't make a whole lot of sense because oxes are, I think, more slow-moving, bigger creatures. This dog is very small and agile, sort of like this alien. So in that regard, the theatrical cut, I think, made the right choice there with which creature it is coming out of. So what else was different? So in the special edition, one of the inmates discovered a dead face hugger. Ripley's body washes up on the shore of the planet rather than being found inside the ship's wreckage, as in the theatrical cut. So I don't think there's a big thing there. Some are extended on the special edition to focus more on the religious views of the inmates, which I think is a good thing to include because that is a core of what makes this film special. It is the people that are there and their beliefs and the world that they are in. And without that, it becomes a more stale film. So also a big thing was that was cut out was this very long scheme where the inmates in Ripley actually capture the alien. So if you don't know, in the extended film, the 30-minute longer version, they actually basically burn the just before she kills that very thing that she is holding so deeply onto. And I want to see that. And to not have that in there is big for me. That is something that is just not really acceptable for me. So after that, what else is not in this film? So there's more just extended stuff on how to capture this alien, stuff like that. One of the bigger things is the full autopsy scene on Newt. Newt is dead in this film, and you get to see more of that autopsy, which is it's good it's in there, but I hate watching that scene at the same time. And even this that we get in this extended cut is nothing like the uncut version, which was, as I'm reading here and heard on the DVD extras, quite horrific. It was, makes people throw up. They can't show that kind of stuff. It was really bad. So what else is different about these two cuts? First off, the audio quality in the this film was in the special edition was not quite as good. There were scenes where the audio just was not good at all, especially in the opening is particularly notable, and towards the end is notable as well. And yeah, so audio is not as good, but the added stuff that's in there makes it acceptable because it's stuff I want to see. And so I'm reading here for the 2010 Alien Anthology release. So this would be the Blu-ray release. The original cast actually went back and redubbed it. So if you're watching the Blu-ray version of it, that is not much of a problem. So that's special edition versus theatrical. And another big scene at the end is just when you have Bishop there, and he talks with Ripley, and he screams out to her, "I'm human! I'm human!" And that scene, I don't believe is in the theatrical cut. I could be wrong, but that's on the Wikipedia thing. That's from memory, but I think that was not in there. And that was a big moment for me that brought even more emotional feelings up inside of me that just were not there in the other cut. So of the two cuts that you're able to watch, I say watch both of them. Which one do I watch more of? I probably watch the special edition version more than the theatrical cut. And at the same time, I watch the theatrical cut a fair amount as well. So both these films are great. Both of these cuts are great. And I'm not sure which one is better. I'm quite honestly not sure because they're both very good. The succinctness of the theatrical cut, the shorter cut, is appreciated, but at times I want to see it spelled out more. I want to see it drawn out more, and that's where the extended cut really I appreciate. So let me know what version of the stuff we can see you like better. I'd love to hear from you. You can email me at thepossibilitiesnetwork@gmail.com, and let's transition from this to the other two cuts of the film. And this is stuff we can't see except to only imagine in our minds. So, we have the Wooden Planet and the first draft. So, the Wooden Planet was before the first draft was even created. So, let's just start there. The Wooden Planet. This is an idea that was spelled out in the quadrilogy and the anthology that was released on Blu-ray. It's a special feature where they talked about this idea of this wooden planet. So this idea here is you have this wooden planet, basically a Death Star made of wood, sort of, is how I envisioned it. There's these monks living there, so that aspect retains itself in the final cut. You have these monks living there, this wooden planet, and they're surrounded by technology to make their planet sustainable, but this technology is out of the way enough that they don't realize all the technology they're using to make this planet work. That makes sense at all. So they're living a very primitive lifestyle, a lifestyle of peasants and that kind of stuff, where you're really experiencing kind of the outdoorsy kind of life and the whole no technology kind of life. And this concept is just way different from anything we've seen so far in these alien films. This is like we're going back to the before Christ era. This is really kind of old stuff that they're trying to mimic, these monks. And Ripley's ship crash lands on this one planet. And they, have an alien that is then, basically comes into this planet, and they basically call it a demon. It is a demon in their eyes. That is what it is. And they have this demon that Ripley brought here, so they cast her away as a demon as well, and they don't acknowledge that she can help them. So these people are casting out the very person who can help them, and it's an interesting idea. And there's a couple of the scenes they described of these tall grasses and these aliens coming down after them. And it very much reminds me of in Jurassic Park 2 or 3, I forget which one, but the raptors knocking people out one by one in this tall grass where they can hide. And it's a very frightening scene, and that would be cool to see in this film as well. So what else is there to this? I mean, not much. I mean, it's a cool idea. It would be very hard to execute back in that time to try to get that something like that to work financially, get something built like that, but I could see it being done. And the whole notion of the alien being a demon, a devil, that's something kind of interesting. We do get the whole monk kind of thing with the final product of this kind of religious inmate crowd. So that is kind of retained, and I think we need to keep the good stuff from this initial idea and move on to the dark and grimy scene of this one. But I would have loved to see this wooden planet because just visually, it would look so different from every other alien film out there. We get nothing like that in any of the other films that were made or have been made since then in this world. So the wooden planet idea is a cool one. I suggest you guys watch the special feature where they describe this idea of the wooden planet. So finally, let's go to the first draft of Alien 3. And I have to preface this with saying I love Alien 3. I love the Alien franchise. But this first draft is why they have first drafts. It was not a good story. So my main problem with it was this first draft, they had Ripley being knocked unconscious for the whole film pretty much. I didn't read where she woke up ever. So she was just knocked unconscious for this whole film. They had Newt and the general guy, Hicks. They had Newt and Hicks as the main two characters. So they were the leads, and Ripley was passed out. She was not really in this film at all, which when I read that, I was kind of shocked that they would even think of doing this because, Ripley is what makes the series work. This is the Ripley story and her life. This is what it's about. To not have that in there, it's kind of important to have her in this. So beyond that, what was kind of cool? Well, it was kind of cool that we had Newt and Hicks in this film because they get killed off obviously in the beginning of film 3, and it'd be interesting for them to make a version of the film with Newt and Hicks in it. What would it be? What would it be if they were there to help? What would that encompass? What would the family structure be with Ripley having a family once again? What would that be like? Right? That's an exciting thing to think about. But at the same time, Sigourney Weaver once said it's not on Ripley's character to have a family. She is solo. That is who she is. That is the essence of her character. And she herself, Sigourney Weaver, thought it would be a stupid idea to have Hicks and Newt in any kind of sequel. So, that makes sense as well. So what does this first draft have in it? Basically, the way I saw this first draft, it was very much like the fourth film, Alien Resurrection, that kind of environment, but just done badly. Like in Alien Resurrection, they did it good because they had this cool little French twist to it. They had Sigourney Weaver as this kind of weird alien-human combo, and that stuff all worked for me. I really enjoyed the fourth film. This version, Alien 3, on that, spaceship, kind of mimicked the first film a little bit too much. It just was not good. The only redeeming part of this was the ending for this film. And it was ended in such a good way. And I'm trying to remember what exactly it ended with. But what I remember is Bishop saying that they basically need to destroy the species. They need to find different scripts and know about the wooden planet, all those different ideas. And I would love it, perhaps, in the future, someone does a remake of Alien 3, right? They do a remake, different actors, all that kind of stuff, and use one of these different scripts, different ideas, and make it with a different